We should. Hi guys, this is Fazan and welcome to today's session on Introduction to JavaScript. So before I start, can you guys quickly confirm if I am audible or not? Is everything okay? Can you see me? Can you see the slide? Can you see the pointer? Okay, great, great, great. So let's wait a few minutes while others can join. So in the meanwhile, I can give you a brief tour of how our academy looks like. So you just go into Google Chrome, type in Great Learning Academy, just click on the first link, right? Now once you have clicked on it, it will redirect you to this page, wherein you have all the advanced courses. Just right click and open it new in a new tab, and you can see all the advanced courses we have, PG courses. Okay, so therein we have data science and business analytics, AI, machine learning, management, cloud computing, cyber security, software development as well. Okay, so these are all paid courses. Now if you're looking for live sessions like this one, today we are taking I'm taking JavaScript, right? Tomorrow Ram is taking career to cloud, then Ritvik is taking introduction to programming and algorithms, right? So these are the live sessions in the coming days. Okay, tomorrow is introduction to programming, right? So you can view all the live sessions here. And plus, if you're looking for courses that are in data science, just click on data science. These are all free courses. Okay, you just have to click, go through it, complete the all the stuff that is there. Once you have completed it, you will have to answer quiz, and that quiz, in order to get the completion certificate, you need to answer 6 questions correctly out of 10. Okay, now if you're looking for something that is related to IT and software, right? We have courses available: data structures, algorithms, Java, Python is there, cyber security, ethical hacking, HTML, CSS, blockchain, all those things, right? If you're looking for courses in Hindi, we have courses available in Hindi as well. Java programming is there, C, C++, React, R, AWS, all these courses are for free. Okay, so with that being said, I can see we have some folks joining. Cool. So now this is, once the session is over, you can go through this and get your completion certificate as well. Okay, which you can easily add up into your resumes and LinkedIn profiles. Okay, let's now get started with our session. So today we're going to talk about introduction to JavaScript. Now, what is this course? This course is a prerequisite for the course that is already available on YouTube. Okay, so we have a course on JavaScript, which is approximately 10 hours, right? Approximately 11 hours, you can say. Okay, so once you are done with this course, once you are done with this session, it will give you a brief intro how JavaScript works, what are its advantages, what are the things that you should know. Now once this session is over, you just need to go to that 11-hour course on our channel. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe our channel. You get all the courses that are on our YouTube channel. Okay, done. So now what are the things that we are going to cover in this session? In this session, first we will talk about what is JavaScript, history, a little bit history of JavaScript, then tools, what are the tools that you should know and what tools you should use. Okay, then we will write our first JavaScript program, that is hello world. Then we will see comments, very important, variables, how to declare them, what are the naming conventions. Then we will talk about data types, type coercion. We'll talk about JavaScript properties as well, what makes JavaScript different, okay, from other programming languages. Okay, we'll also talk about operators, and finally we will conclude our session with conditional statements. Now let's get started. So what is a JavaScript? Now, in a naive way, if you can see, right, whatever you see on the system, right? Let's suppose you are seeing this YouTube through on a laptop, right? This YouTube session. Now you see the things that are there, right? There's a hamburger sign on top of the on the right left hand corner, right? Left hand corner, top corner. Okay, you can see a hamburger sign. Now this is nothing but your bootstrap, which is nothing but your CSS, right? So this is what CSS is. So obviously now you can apply, you have HTML, then you apply CSS on it in order to beautify it. Now CSS was a little bit it was tricky and it requires some effort, so that is why we have CSS. Okay, so CSS is we have bootstrap, which makes our work very easy. Okay, so now once that is done, now this HTML gives your page the structure, and with CSS you can With CSS you can apply some styling as well. Now once these things are done, now the next thing is that to perform actions. All the actions that you perform on a web page is with the help of JavaScript. Okay, so it is known as the verb of the page. Okay, is this thing clear to you guys? Right, so it is the verb of the page. It is an object oriented programming language that uses just in time compiler. Now what is this JIT? This JIT stands for just in time compiler. Now it uses the best of two worlds. What are those two worlds? The first is your interpreter, right? And the second is your compiler, right? So these two words, right? Now interpreter checks line by line. Now you have compiler, it checks throughout, okay, and it will give you at the end, it will give you the error. Now what is the best thing about interpreter? That it checks in depth, right? It will go line by line. But when there is a loop, it will go again and again and again. That's a drawback. Now therein compiler comes into picture. Okay, does CSS mean cascading style sheets? Yes, Anirudh. Okay, hello programs. Okay, cool. I'm looking on this side, that means I'm looking at your chat, guys. Okay, so don't worry if I'm not looking this way. Okay, so you keep interacting with me. Let's try to make this session as interactive as possible. Okay, so now these are the two things, interpreter and compiler, right? So now the JIT uses both these words, the best of these two words. Now, okay, is this thing clear? Could we make use of inheritance concept in JS? Yes, there is something known as prototype, right? If that thing is not covered in this session, go back to my 10-hour session, and there's an index if you want to learn exactly inheritance, right? Prototypal inheritance or prototype or proto, that inheritance is done with the help of those things. Okay, probit, cool. So now this uses JIT. It's everywhere and all the web browsers are installed with it. Okay, so now if you see the web browser, right, there's a simple way with which you can run your JavaScript, and it is in the browser. How do you link JS with web page? We will see that as well, Meher. Okay, don't worry. Okay, now it is just, we have just started our session, so don't worry, don't jump into conclusions that I have skipped something. Okay, so I will cover each and everything that is required. Okay, that is required to get you guys started. Okay, it is very easy. How long is this course? Will go on for this is a 1 hour session, and if things are not clear to you guys, obviously you can go back and revisit this session, or you can go back to my 10-hour course which is there. You can easily go through that, and each and everything is explained in detail. Okay, so which software is used for web design? So web designing, obviously front end. When you talk about front end, there is Bootstrap, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, all those things. Okay, you can also go for Angular, but I don't like Angular. Okay, cool. So JavaScript is very easy, and it is very compatible with HTML and CSS, and it is a must to have skill when you talk about software engineering role. Now JavaScript is most widely used. Now you might not get JavaScript job opportunities, but obviously the frameworks that are there, the runtime environments that are there, the libraries that are there of JavaScript are very much in demand, right? Like if you talk about React, it is the library, right? If you talk about Angular, it is a framework. If you talk about Node.js, it's the runtime environment which makes JavaScript drastic change. Right now you can easily run your code outside the browser with the help of Node.js, which is nothing but the runtime environment. Okay, cool. Can you provide this PPT after? Yes, Anurag, it will be shared with you, don't worry. So this is what is JavaScript. Now if you talk about history, now this the founder of JavaScript was Brendan Naik. Okay, now he developed this language in 10 days. At that time he was working in Netscape. Okay guys, so in Netscape he built this language JavaScript in 1995 in 10 days. Now if a language is built in 10 days, obviously there will be some ups and downs in this language, right? He developed this for the JS engine that was there, the Spider Monkey, which was used in Mozilla Firefox. Okay, so JavaScript was later, it was earlier named as Mocha, then LiveScript, then finally it got changed due to some trademark reasons. Its name remained as JavaScript. Okay, which time are you talking about? So that the link will be shared with you guys in the chat. Okay, don't worry. Okay, so this is a brief history, and obviously there are some errors you can see, but after those errors are rectified by different things. We'll talk about some errors, not errors you can say, but yeah, there is some weird nature. We have talked about traditional programming language, so now we'll see what are the weird things that were there in JavaScript and how we rectified it. Okay, Want to learn JS from for unit testing. Yes, yes, you can easily go, Rakshit, you can easily go through that course, okay? So the 10-hour course, everything that you require in order to do the testing, that is there, okay? Don't worry, including the basics also, okay? So now this is the history. Now let's talk about tools. What are the tools, right? Obviously, you need two things. That is, one is text editor, another is browser. Now, text editors are many. There are many text editors or IDEs one can use. Visual Studio is there, Sublime Text is there, Atom, Notepad plus plus. Now, it depends, right? If you're familiar with, let's suppose I am familiar with and I love to code in Visual Studio, right? Or Atom, I don't want you guys to change just because I am using in this session. I might use even Sublime in this session. Okay. So you can go for any text editor that you are comfortable in. Now it depends, right? The more powerful your editor is. What is Node.js? Node.js is a runtime environment. We will see JavaScript can be run only in the browser, but that was a drawback and that was a restriction of Java. There was a restriction to JavaScript. Okay. Now in order to work it outside the browser, right? They introduced this Node.js, which is nothing but your runtime environment. If you want to get the brief intro, there is a session, also a course on GLA, that is Great Learning Academy. You can go there and register yourself and go through it. Okay, it's a runtime environment. Yes, Rakshit. Could we conclude JS concept as object oriented programming pencil? Could we conclude JS concepts as object? You can say that, not 100% obviously, but yes, it can be, it is, and we can make it 100% programming paradigm. Okay, object oriented paradigm. Okay, cool. So now what are the browsers? You can use any browser. All the browsers are installed with JS and you can run your code and easily on your browser. Okay, if you just type in Ctrl+Shift+I in the browser, you can just directly write JavaScript code in the console. Okay, we'll see how to do those things. Okay, now more powerful your editor is, more additional functionalities you will get. So JavaScript is nothing but the verb of the web page, right? Any actions that you perform on your web page is JavaScript. Okay, can you do sessions on scanner class program? Sure, not in this, but Vasundhara, sure, we will work on that. Okay, cool. So now more powerful your editor is, more functionalities you will get, like auto indentation, auto completion, highlights are there, all those things are there. I will show you in Sublime how these things are very much useful. Okay, you can say that, okay, auto indentation, that makes your code much more readable. Does JS has classes and directly we can use using object? Yes, Penesar. Okay, so now let's try to see our first JavaScript program. So now before jumping into coding, now let's see how we can write our code. Okay, so when HTML course is uploaded, soon Ramesh, soon it will be uploaded. Why are JavaScript important? Why is JavaScript important? Okay, Ankita says, why is JavaScript important? So any action that you perform on a web page, what is that? That is nothing but your JavaScript. If you want to make your web page more interactive, you need JavaScript. Okay, plus now JavaScript might not be directly used. There might be some frameworks available, some libraries in Facebook. Only in Facebook there is almost 20,000 components written in React, which is nothing but a JavaScript library. Obviously, if you know JavaScript, then only you can understand React, right? That makes sense to you, right? It makes sense, right? It connects the dots. Okay, it connects the dot. Okay, so should we learn Java before learning JavaScript? It doesn't matter. It is absolutely, these are two different programming languages. Okay, it is absolutely unnecessary to wait first to learn Java and then JavaScript. If you are interested in the front end tools wherein you can just see all the actions that you perform on a page and you want to create those events and all those things, definitely you should go for JavaScript and not the Java. Okay, so now there are three ways, right, with which you can create or you can start writing your JavaScript code. The first way is that you can directly open up your console. Okay, with the help of Ctrl+Shift+I or right click, then go to inspect. Okay, directly you just open up the console and go on to directly and start writing. Now for let me take an example. So for consoling on the log, that means if you want to print out anything, like we have printf statement, we have C in C out statement, and we have print in Python. All those things are used to print out something on the console. So same thing can be used. this is the function that we can use, console.log, which is the inbuilt function. Okay, we can use that. What is Node.js? SD lover, already told you, it is nothing but the runtime environment wherein you can write your JavaScript code outside the browser. Simple. Okay, now let's see how we can do that. Okay, let me go to the browser and let me open up this and let me just right click and inspect. Okay, so you see this console, the developer console you see here, and here you can directly write your JavaScript codes. Okay, console.log. Exactly. Please tell us about security in JavaScript as compared to Django. uh, Akshay, I will tell you, but later on this course. First, try to understand what are the things that make JavaScript and why should we use it. Okay, and this thing will be clear for sure at the end of this session. Okay, don't worry. Okay, so teach Java programming, not in this session, Vasundhara. Okay, SD lover is still saying what is JavaScript. Okay, it is already covered SD. Okay, now we have opened up our console and we can directly write console.log and let's put a message like hello world. Okay, done. So this is how you write directly your JavaScript code in the console. I hope it is visible to you guys. I am just increasing the font size. Okay, right, so this is how you write, and it can be done obviously if you do right click, and if you open up this and then do right click and inspect, same thing will go. You will go into the console, and if you do Control Shift I, the same console will be opened. Okay, Control Shift and I. Okay, so this is the console. Okay, can we use JavaScript in a CRUD operation? Yes, you can do that, those things, but since it is a front-end development tool, when advanced AJ, advanced Java course will be available. Junaid, not sure of the time, but surely we are working on it. Okay. Yes, you can create, read, update, and delete. All those things can be done, but with the help of Node.js, not JavaScript. Okay, so that is what is used on the server side. Okay. Sir, why are you avoiding my query? No, no, world of rag. So please reply. I don't see your question. World of RAK. Sir, why are you avoiding my query? You don't know, sir. Can you just write it again? I cannot see your question. World of rack. Okay, so we write code in both console and browser. Yes, I will show you. So this is the first way, right? This is the first approach that we can use. We can directly open up the console and write it there. Okay, as just like what I showed you guys. Okay, this is the first way. What is the next way? The next way is using a script tag. Okay, so now inside your HTML, right, and the editor that I'm going to use is Sublime. Okay, let me just open up my Sublime quickly. So now what I'm going to write, I'm going to write HTML. Okay, so now let's first save this file. Okay, so now let's save it on the desktop and let's write it let's name it demo.html. World of rag. Well, okay, still I can't see your question. World of rag. Okay, okay. So now demo.html, I open up, I just wrote HTML, that's it. Okay, let me just increase the font and that's it. So I'm just writing. Junaid says your certificate of completion is looking very okay. What makes you think so, Khan? Don't we need to install any software, sir, for JavaScript? No, Mona, no, not required. If you want to go for any editor, that is, if you want to use Visual Studio or anything is available to you, or you are comfortable in working with if you're comfortable in working with what, Sublime or let's say Atom, you can use those things. Okay, there is no explicitly I don't want you explicitly to go for Sublime or anything like that. Okay, okay, so now what I wrote HTML and then I press the enter. Okay, not tab. Okay, so now you see this is the boilerplate. Okay, so this is the boilerplate of your HTML, and here let me write the title as well. So home page. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to include a script tag. Now script tag can be written inside the body as well as in the head, depending upon which one you want to. Let's suppose you wrote something that you want to okay, sir, why are you sitting in dim light? Okay, which software you use for Java? No such software, you can use any editor. Okay, how to run codes in Sublime. Yes, I'm showing you that. So when you use PyCharm, okay, so JavaScript and Java is different. Absolutely, Sumant. Sumant. Okay, so now what I have written the script tag. Obviously, you can remove this type of this is script. So script tag is there, and now I will include some script, that is, I can write my JavaScript code over here, console.log, and then hello world. Okay, simple, done. Now what I can write, I can save this file and I will run it in the console. I will open my, I saved it on the desktop. Just go onto the desktop and double click on the file. That's it. And here, okay, 1 minute. The name of the file is demo homepage. Okay, done. Okay, open up the Sublime again, and okay, you see this is there. Done. Okay, let's save this file and let's run this file again, and this time around you will see nothing on the screen. Okay, now where is our this message that we showed on the screen, white console.hello world, right? Just right click and go into the inspect, go into the console, you will see hello world. Now with this way we can surely see that. Okay, now let me change this message. I'll say hello world. Okay, let me change this message and let's refresh this. Okay, now you see hello world. So this means, sir, is there any performance impact or if we write scripting inside the head? Yes. So Rakshit, it depends, right? If you want to run something before your main logic, let's suppose your website requires that your script tag or your script, anything that is in the script, should run first before you're loading your main body. At that time you will shift it to the head part. If you want it to be at the end, you can include it in the body. There is a performance impact. Okay. Gaurav says, sir, what makes JavaScript different from HTML and CSS? So, Gaurav, there's a hell lot of a difference between HTML and CSS. HTML is the structure of the page, right? It defines the structure. That's it, right? So whatever you see on this YouTube, so here you have the header, and in that YouTube is written, right? On the side you have some messages going on, right? And then you have the name and all those places. Structure, that is only structure, nothing. And if now you want to add some styles, now you want to add some images and all those things, that can be done with the help of CSS. Now anything that you do, right? If you see the hamburger sign on the top left corner of your YouTube, when you are opening your YouTube on a desktop, at that time you will see the hamburger sign. That is what? That is your bootstrap. That is CSS. Now anything that you perform, your actions, your submit buttons, what is the, let's suppose you filled in a form and you want the acknowledgement, that actions, those actions are performed with the help of JavaScript. Okay, so you teach well, so please make sessions on Java. Sure, Vasundhara. Console, okay, sir, you can give notes. Yes, notes will be given. Why we use JavaScript for making website? Already answered it, Gaurav. Can we make script tag both in head and the same time? You can try it, but obviously if the same content is there, then you won't be able to see the difference. Obviously when something is in the head, right, it will be loaded earlier. Okay, sir, how many days to learn JavaScript? It depends upon how much you practice. Sir, just texted twice, still I didn't get my answer. Okay. Now, what is the difference between Java and JavaScript? These are two entirely different programming paradigms. So Java can be used as a backend tool, wherein JavaScript is used as a front-end tool. Okay. Obviously, there's a huge difference between the architecture and the properties. We'll talk about JavaScript properties. You will get to understand the difference, main differences. Okay. Obviously, JavaScript is dynamically typed language. What do you mean by dynamically typed language? You don't have to explicitly specify that, okay, this is an integer variable. You just write var, that's it. Okay. I will show you guys. Don't worry right now. We use HTML and CSS for styling and print messages. We'll use HTML and CSS for styling and print messages, whatever we need to display on. But JavaScript, we use it for actions after click. Okay, good. It is used for both front end and back end. Yes, but not exactly JavaScript, but you can use it on the back end with the help of Node.js. Okay, Nidhi? JS adds functionality to our websites, makes elements alive, and user can interact with. Yes. What is difference between Java and JavaScript? Already explained. Bootstrap and CSS are the same. No, Bootstrap is the framework that obviously now something is available to you guys, right? Let's suppose what do you say? I told you guys to make this hamburger sign. Now, if you are writing it yourself, it will take you time. But with Bootstrap, this hamburger sign is available. Okay. So it's a framework. It reduces our effort. Okay. The things are readily available, tested and tried out code, error-free code as there in Bootstrap. Okay. So CSS Bootstrap is a framework. Yes. Would you conduct Python live session? No. Like Java? No. Not sure. Gaurav Pandey consider. Okay. Sir, when we write documents, sir, okay, great learning. Okay, sir, great learning certificate valid for a job. Yes, it's a completion certificate. Obviously, now what are the things that you have learned in that session or in that course? You should be able to justify those things. You just can't write, I have a certificate of completion certificate of what is JavaScript. Nagar already explained. Don't rewrite it. You don't have to write it again and again. JavaScript is the verb of the web page. Any actions that you want to perform on a web page is your JavaScript. Okay, sir, continue with out. Okay. Now let's skip the queries, and now I will get back to you at the end. Okay, cool, guys. Okay, now yes. Okay, now this is the second way. Okay, so opening up in the script tag, you can write it. Okay, done. Now what is the third way? So the third way is, now this was the script tag that we included. This was within the file, right? Within the HTML file. Now this is not a very good way. This is not an efficient way. This is not an efficient way. Now let's suppose I want this script, and this script is right now, let's suppose this is of 100 lines, and the script that I want to write is of 100 lines. Now in my another HTML file, I want the same script, right? Now again, I need to rewrite this 100 lines of code, which I absolutely don't want. This is not efficient, okay? This is not an efficient way. Now the efficient way is to write an external file, create an external file, write your code in that external file, and then link it, okay? So you see, this is your external file, JavaScript file, and then we are just linking it, okay? It can be either in the head or in the body. Now for linking, you just write in script and then write the name of the file. Let me show you quickly. Okay, so in the head, let's suppose we want to add a file. You just write in script, right? Press a tab. You see, this is auto completion. Okay, let me just make it. Okay, so now the next thing is source. Okay, now you wrote source and then equal to name of the file. Let's suppose that is demo.js. Okay, demo.javascript. Okay, done. Okay, so now obviously you need to create this JavaScript file. Let's suppose we created a new file. Okay, now we created a new file, and let's suppose we are saying that console.log and connected. Let's write connected with JS, right, with JavaScript. Now let's save this file first, and obviously we're going to save it in the same drive or in the same folder wherein we have that file. So we'll write demo.js. That's it. Okay, now let's save this file, and let's remove this script tag for now. And for body, we can put a paragraph just to see something is written on the paragraph. Just type in lorem and then give a tab, and this will be an auto written text that will be there. It is a gibberish text. Please make it very clear about the actual syntax. Okay, sure, Nabil, sure, don't worry about it. Okay, so right now I'm just showing you the how to link your files. Okay, that's it. So now we have written this. Let's save this file, and let's run this file. Okay, we have these 3 tabs. Let's remove these tabs for now. Let's refresh it. Now you see error occurred. Okay, let's write JS. Okay, script tag is closed. Let's save this file. Let's run this. Control Shift I. JS is connected. Okay, demo.js. Yes, Akshay, demo.js. Okay, cool. Now we are connected with our JavaScript file, right? Done. Now let's go back. This is the third way, and this is the most efficient way. Okay, you just have to write home. Obviously these slides will be shared with you guys, so you don't have to remember anything. Okay, done. Now this is how you connect your external file with your HTML file. That now how do you write comments in JavaScript? So obviously in the external file you just have to write in the similar way you write in Java. The if you want to write a multiple line comments, you will put a backslash and asterisk, and then you will put some lines in here and then close it, asterisk sign and then the backslash. And if it's a single line comment, just write two backslashes and that's it. So all these lines of why are these important? Now why do we need comments? Now you are thinking, let's suppose you are thinking, okay sir, why do we need comments? These are very unnecessary, but it adds value to your code. If you're sharing your code with your fellow developer in the company, or let's suppose you're sharing it with some other guy, he wants to know, okay, this is the function that you have used, why you are using it. For mobile, so there are some mobile applications that are not mobile applications but the game development that is done in JavaScript, and there is why there is no commenting in JSX. So JSX is something that is very different. That is obviously Abhishek, you know JSX, right? So JSX is nothing but what it is similar to HTML, but it is not HTML, right? The syntax is entirely different. All the small things that are written in JSX are all the small the lowercase letters that are written in React are JSX. Okay, so you can say that it has a similarity with HTML, but JSX is used for what? That is an entirely different thing. I don't want to get into the detail, but there is you cannot write commenting, you cannot comment in that part. But obviously if you want to comment, you can just comment it outside the JSX code. Okay, how to take inputs from JS, we'll see, don't worry. So can you please provide us the free certification course? So all the courses that are available on our academy that you see on the popular courses, IT and software, those are all free courses. Okay, so okay, book is best. Okay, sometimes comment is used for framework for showing a function action. Yes. When will be the quiz? In this session there will be no quiz, guys. Let me make it clear to you. Only the courses that are available on our academy, therein you have the quiz. Okay, so you need to search it. I think you can just try it. Let me just give you an idea which book is best. Just a minute, I don't remember the name. So what you are going to do, all the courses that are available on our academy, right? You can just type in those. Okay, you can just go through that those. Okay, so you can go yes, so you can go with Kyle Sampson's scope and closure. Okay, that if you want to understand the scope, right, what is lexical scope, what is global scope, what are these things, right? So you can go for Kyle Sampson's scope and closure. Closures are very important. Now if you are going in an interview and you want to an interviewer wants to know the depth you know about what JavaScript, he will definitely ask a question regarding closure. Okay, then there's another book you can go through, that is fundamental, that JavaScript and query. Okay, you can go through that as well. That is very good book. Effective JavaScript is another. JavaScript patterns is also another book. So if in my opinion you should go for first you should go for JavaScript and jQuery. That is one book there, and then scope and closure by Kyle Simpson. Okay, okay, so what method is best for JS? Okay, cool. So now let's get back to the session. All these all these questions can be answered later. Okay, there's no certificate for this session. No. But on GLA there is. Okay, not for this session. We do take sessions wherein we will give certificate, but not this session. Okay, sir, I have a question. Is it mandatory to learn JavaScript to come in? Java? No, absolutely not, Arpita. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so now comments are done, right? So now what about variables? Okay, so variable is the most important thing in any programming language. Now it is the location. Let's suppose you have a memory and you want to store something at this memory location. Now obviously this will be having some address. Now it will be a hexadecimal number. Now you don't remember this hexadecimal number. Now what you will do, you will have some variable which will store this reference, and you can access this memory location with the help of this variable. Now obviously, why do we need variables? Great learning is thank you so much, guys. So what is the difference between mean and mern? So in mean, you can see there is an angular in that, okay, and in mern there is a react in that, okay. So this is the only difference, rest is same, okay. Flynn. Okay, so now how to get job using JS? You will not get, as I told you earlier, right? You will not get explicitly jobs. There are not jobs explicitly. Sir, what are the prerequisites for JavaScript? HTML, little bit of HTML, little bit of CSS. Okay, Sujit. So now you will not get jobs explicitly about what? JavaScript. Okay, so basically now JavaScript has a dependency, like Arpita says it is totally different from Java. Oh yes, Kishore. Okay, so now what happens? Yes, there are job opportunities available on a framework or on a library like React or Node.js. Now, if you're looking for something that is full stack developer, right, and you want to learn minimum things, right? Minimum, when I mean minimum, you want to learn only two technologies. Obviously, you should know JavaScript, right? JavaScript you should know, and then you only learn React, JS, and Node.js. Done. Full stack developer. This is a very this is the most what becoming a software developer or a full stack developer in just 2 steps, right? Learn JavaScript, you have a good understanding of JavaScript, go for React, make some application, clone some applications, then switch to Node.js, try to store things. Node.js is nothing but storing something on a server. That is what a full stack is, right? So you will deal with front end also, you will deal with back end also, thus making you a full stack developer. Okay, commenting can be helpful for programmer to have not to who have wrote that. Yes, it is beneficial for both, right? For the one who is writing your code and for the one who is seeing your code. Okay, for both of them it makes sense. Okay, so inside variable, can we use string inside var? So if you're talking about this scenario over here, right, let me just clear out my screen. So if you're talking about this variable name, now I'm creating a var name, right? This is the syntax, right? You write a var keyword, you can either go for let as well as const, but we will not be dealing with these things right now, okay, for this session. Sir, next session please. Okay, sure Vasundhara, sure, don't worry. So for now we will be dealing with var, and we will be declaring variables with the help of this var keyword. So name is the name of the variable, and then the value. It can be a string, it can be a number, right? Anything, right? Now, what makes JavaScript? Anyone or most of you are asking questions like, what is JavaScript and what is Java? Is this thing possible in Java? Can you write dynamically typed? Why is it a dynamically typed language? Why JavaScript is a dynamically typed language? Because of these features, right? So with the help of var name, you're declaring a string. With the help of var roll number, you are declaring a number. This is a number, this is a string. You can declare a boolean as well, var bool, and then put true value in it, right? So all of these things make JavaScript a dynamically typed language, right? Now what about weakly typed language? So JavaScript is also a weakly typed language. Now what do you mean by weakly typed language? So anything, right? Whenever you a language is supposed, or if you can say a language is a weakly typed language, when your one type can be converted into another type, right? Now let me take an example. Let's suppose you have this var and you have roll number in it, and you wrote 7. Now next time what you did, you wrote roll number equal to 7 plus Fazan. Now is it possible in any other languages? No. Earlier the what was the type of roll number? It was a number, right? Because we were storing number. Now after this step, when you type in the type of roll number, it will give you string. Now you see, one type, that is roll number, was first a what? It was a number, and then its type got converted into a string. So this is known as weakly typed language, when you can change one type into another. Now these things are not possible in Java. They will throw you an error. There are many things, right? Scope. If you talk about scope, right, if you have declared this variable inside a for loop, right, and then you're trying to, let's suppose I'm declaring in a for loop, I'm declaring a var, then I'm writing I equal to 0, and then I'm doing something in this, right? Can I access in any other language? Can I access this I over here? Can I print SOP? Can I do in Java? Can I do it this in Java when I'm trying to print this I outside the for loop? Absolutely not. It will throw me an error saying, bro, what are you doing? This is not the scope of this variable. It has not been declared. But in JavaScript, yes, local scope if within a block. Yes, obviously, right? So this will not be accessible, right? But when you're using a var, you can access it. Now this is something that is not in our traditional programming languages, right? So what the guys in JavaScript, what Brendan Naik thought, okay, let me rephrase this thing, let me use some other things as well, right? So what he did, he used let keyword to declare a variable inside the for loop. Now when I declare this I using a let keyword, now if I'm trying to access console.log over here, when I'm trying to access this I over here, it will throw me an error, right? It will throw me an error. So this is how he rectified these things. Yes. It is very not. It's not a traditional language that is easily understood. Let is block scope. Yes, Shivam. Yes. So now let's move ahead. Okay. So now what about the naming conventions? Or what about the naming conventions? How do you write your variables? Obviously, it is a case-sensitive language. That means if you are declaring your variable like this, and then you're trying to access it like this, obviously it will show you, bro, this variable has not been defined. Okay. Simple. Done. So now this is a case sensitive language, and now what are the rules for declaring a variable? Obviously your variable should start with either a letter, right? Shivam, let is a keyword. Yes, let is a keyword, obviously, but he's saying that let has a block scope. Yes, let has a block scope. It is used in this also, React, not in React Probit, it is used in JavaScript as well. So those are also next gen JavaScript features. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay, so now what happens, you can either declare your variable with a letter, a dollar sign, or an underscore. Okay, yes, so it can be a letter, it can be a dollar, it can be an underscore sign. So anything that is apart from these things, right? Anything, let's suppose you want to declare your variables using numbers, you cannot do that. It will throw an error. It will say that it's an invalid variable naming, right? So these are all invalid variable names. Let me just clear my screen. So these are all invalid variable names. These are all valid variable names, right? Because it starts with a letter, this starts with an underscore, this starts with an dollar sign. Okay. Apart from that, there can be any number of letters followed by these things. Okay. So you just have to start with a letter, then you can write 1, 2, 3, 4, anything, right? Any special character, anything. But starting, this should be the subset should be among these. Okay. Done. So this is about variable naming convention. Okay, done. Now what about data types? Now this is very important, right? This is the bread and butter of JavaScript, right? What about these things? JavaScript, we know now it is a dynamically typed language, and it does not, you don't have to specify data type explicitly, right? That is what you mean by dynamically typed language. You don't have to specify that this is a number, this is a string, this is a boolean, this is an undefined, this is a null. Okay, so there are 5 primitive data types in JavaScript. Now, when I mean primitive, these are inbuilt data types. Okay. So now again, one might argue, sir, okay, now if we can change its type, then okay, let's not go on that for now. Okay. So now let's stick to this thing. Okay. So now we have declared this is a number. The type of this is again a string. The type of this is a boolean, right? And the type of when you don't define anything, when you just declared it, at that time it will give you undefined. When you have null value in your variable, at that time it will show you null, but it will never show you null. I will tell you why. Okay, so now let's go into a little bit, let's try to code a little bit in our this console. Okay, so now let's try to do this thing. Let me tell you some please answer these questions. Okay, let's suppose you have A, B, C, D. Okay, and you have 10 in this. Okay, so we have one inbuilt function, sir, only for this day, this session only. So Sumant, this is a prerequisite for the session that is already available on our YouTube channel, right? There's a 10-hour course already there. this will give you a brief intro about this. If you have any questions regarding that course, or if you want to learn something that was not covered, just comment there and I will answer that. Okay, you don't have to worry. Okay, so now what will be the type of this? What will be the type of ABCD? Quickly, guys. It will be a number. Okay, so now what if I did this thing, and now let's change this to ABCD. Now let me change the value of this ABCD. Okay, ABCD, not int, not int, it's a number. What is the difference between late what is the difference between late answer and where answer? So okay, not late, let and where aftab, it is very different, right? They don't, they, the declaration, there's a difference between declaration, there's a difference between scope. These are two different things. As I told you earlier, the scope of the variable, right? Could we consider each problem as a DOM? Yeah, you can say that. Probit, yes, you can say that. Okay, number, yes, exactly, number. Now what if I did this thing, type of, right, then this, then again type of, and then A B C D. Now what will be the output of this, guys? Quickly, could we merge JS code into PHP code? uh, PHP is not scalable that much, as I told you earlier, right? You keep asking these questions the other way around. So you cannot do that. I haven't tried it, but maybe if you want, you can try it. But PHP is not scalable, and it is used, obviously it is used a lot of in the industry because of its what you can say, that it is maintained, it can be maintained easily, PHP. So that is why there is a scope always to learn PHP, and you can go for that. Okay, so now what happens here? Okay, just quickly answer this question quickly, guys. Some of you say string, some of you say number. So the answer to this question is that it will be a string. Why? Because if you observe carefully here, what happens here, it is ABCD 10, right? And it is a number. Now it returned a number in the form of what? Object or number, I guess. It will be a string, not an object. Now this is the thing, right? Okay, string, right? So now what happens when we type in ABCD the first time, it returned a number in the form of string. Now when I did, now obviously it will be something like this, right? It will be similar to this. Let me just close this thing. So it will be similar to writing here what? It will be similar to writing this thing. Now this is the string that this is the thing that we would have returned from that number, right? So this will be the output of this thing, right? Let me just highlight this thing. This will be the output, right? Or not the string, the number, right? So this will be the output, right? So now when this is again sent to the type of, at that time what he will do, he will convert it into string. Obviously it is a string right now, so that is why you get the answer as string. Now what about this? What will be the value here? I have declared a variable, let's say ggggg, okay, and that's it. Now when I do a type of gggg, what will be the answer? What will be the answer here? Quickly, guys. So I have declared a variable ggg and nan, not a number, okay, neha, undefined. Yes, it will be undefined because we haven't defined it yet. Now what if we have written this ggg equal to null? Now what will be the type of this ggg? What will be the type of, is this visible to you guys? I think it is visible, yes. Okay, now what will be the type of this ggg? Okay, now here's the thing, right? So it should be null, it should be what it should be null, right? But this null is converted into object, just like arrays, functions, all those things. When you do a type of regarding that, regarding arrays or regarding functions, it will show you object. Similar to that, this is a little bit weird nature of JavaScript. Don't get confused, right? This is a little bit weird nature of JavaScript. When you do a type of this thing, right, ggg, that is obviously null, it will always give you an object as the type of. Okay, yes Rakshit, yes, it will give you type of. But there is a, when you do a type of array, obviously you might be thinking, okay, this is an array. When you do a type of function, obviously you will thinking, you might be thinking that is an function, right? But everything in JavaScript is converted into objects. Okay, so that is the, for the same reason this null is not there and it is converted into object. So you don't worry for now. This is a little bit weird nature of JavaScript. There are a lot of things that are not supported. Is null a type? Yes, it is a type, but here it is not. It is converted into what? Object. Okay, okay, so these are the some primitive data types. Okay, so now let's talk about type coercion. Okay, and we will conclude our session, and all those things what are left behind, right, what are left, please refer to that video which is already there, a 10-hour course. Each and everything, what is null, type of null, everything is explained. Okay, and data types, type coercion, all those things. Okay. Yes. Java is easy programming or JS? uh, Java has a lot of legacy code written in Java, and you always have job opportunities available in Java. It completely depends on you, right? If you're looking for something that is in front end of the if you're looking for front end development, you always go for JavaScript, not Java. Now, yes, Probit says undefined object. Yes, there's a difference. There's a difference between Shivam object and the object. Okay, we'll cover, maybe not in this session, maybe in that session which is there, the 10-hour course, it will be explained. Okay, now let's quickly conclude this session with type coercion, because it is very important. Okay, so type coercion obviously means when we are comparing two values. Okay, so at that time you will force one type to change into null, undefined and null. So these are two different data types, probate. Okay, so now at that time one type will be forced to change into another, and you can stop type coercion with the help of this. Okay, that means 3 equal to sign. So now what do you mean by type coercion? Obviously in some language you might be thinking, okay, if we write if one or while one, what happens internally, this one is a number, right? But in JavaScript this one is converted into boolean and it makes it true. It will be converted into true. Now earlier what it was, the type of was number, and now it is a boolean. Both these are data types, different data types, right? So this is Sumant. Java, I say Java is a little bit easier because we are familiar with that traditional system, that we cannot use this, we cannot do that. There is something also known as what, hoisting. You will get surprised what JavaScript can do. Okay, hoisting is something that if you have somehow skipped or you have used some variable inside a function and you are accessing it outside, still that there will be no error because of hoisting. Okay, so yes, because of the traditional systems that we are in, we are familiar with language like C++, Java. It is it is quite different from those languages. Okay, there is something also known as closure, right? So yes, Java is a little bit easier. Okay, just because that we are familiar with those things. Can you explain how variable hoisting works? So not in this session, maybe you can go to that session. Everything is explained in detail about hoisting. Okay, and I have taken several examples in that course as well. Okay, so don't worry. So if something is left behind, so do refer to that course. Okay, if both values will be a number, it will be a true condition. Now what happens in this, what happens, how you stop this type coercion? Because if you're using this thing, right, equal to sign, if let me take an example. Let me just clear out my screen first. Let me take an example. So this is a number. I have defined 10 here, a equal to 10, and I have defined b equal to 10. And then I'm doing if a is equal to b, console.log hello. Is this visible? I'm not sure it will be visible to you guys. Okay, is this visible to you guys? So what will be the output here? Quickly. What will be the answer here? So one of A is a number and B is a string. So now what I'm doing, I'm comparing. If A is equal to B, then print hello, else nothing will be printed. So you can say nothing or hello. Just quickly write in the answer, write in the chat. So hello will be printed. Why? Because when we use this double equal to sign, right, when we use this double equal to sign, at that time only content is checked. Okay, and the content of both A and B is same. Okay, nothing will be executed. Oh no, okay, no. So this is what is done when we are using double equal to. But when we use triple equal to, at that time content is also checked and data type is also checked. Now the data type of B is string and the data type of A is a number. So at that time nothing will be printed, no hello will be printed. Okay, there nothing will be printed, meaning hello will not be printed. So this is how you stop type coercion, right? If you have seen, now coming back to what object is here, O, wherein O is capital, right? So here what I'm doing, object is the root, you can say it is the root of every thing, right? And everything falls under this object. Now object dot is when I'm doing plus 0 and minus 0, typecasting into string, you can say that yes, typecasting, but there is no such term in typecasting in JavaScript. Okay, just for checking. Yes, converted string into B, and yes, you can stop type coercion. Now what happens? Now can you tell me what will be the answer here? Plus 0 and minus 0. I know it doesn't make sense, right? But it should, right? Obviously when you convert plus 0 into 2's complement, there will be a different value, and when you convert minus 0 into 2's complement, there will be a different value, right? But it will give you true, it will show you a true result because the content is also same and the data type is also same, but they are not equal, right? They should give us false. For that same reason we are using this object, that is the root, and along with it we are using this method, that is for checking. Yes, type coercion meaning, is that reverse? No, probe it. Type coercion means to convert one type into another, that's it. Okay, so now what happens, we are using that object, that root folder, that root, everything falls under that, and along with we are using is, that method. Are these two equal? At that time it will give us false result, which is rightly so. Another example, not a number. This is not a number, this is not a number. Not a number, what is the condition for not a number? It will be conditions like, let's suppose you are trying to divide something by 0, then the result will be not a number. Okay, and when you're trying to divide a string by 2, okay, check type, not check type, Shivam, it only checks the data, right, the content, and that triple equal to checks both content as well as data type. Okay, so now what happens, not a number is a condition when you're trying to divide something by 0 or you're trying to divide a string. At that time it will throw you an error, what, not a number. But again, the weird nature of JavaScript, that when you compare both these types, obviously not a number is equal to not a number, it will throw you an it will give you false, which is not right, which is not according to what the traditional system says, the traditional programming system says. It will give you a false result. Again, to rectify that, we can use object is, which is the root folder, dot is, and then check not a number and not a number case. Okay, at that time it will give you true, because these two entities are equal, both of these are equal. Okay, is this thing clear? Sir, is JS a pure, oops, not pure, but it can be done just like Java. Okay, is this triple equal to available only in Java? Yes, in Java it is not there, in C it is not there, in C++ it is not there. I think I don't know if it is there in Python or not. Okay, cool. So now this is what type coercion is. Now Coming back to JavaScript properties, what are those two properties? You already know that it's a weakly typed language. I have already covered this, that type coercion is allowed, converting one type into another, which is not available in any programming language. And if you talk about dynamically typed language, wherein you don't need to specify explicitly that this is an integer variable, or this is a number, this is a string, this is a boolean, this is a null. Okay, you don't have to explicitly define those things, and you can use only let, var, and const keywords to declare your variables. Okay guys, so now let's conclude this session, and rest of the things that are there, you can always refer to that course. That course is already there on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you subscribe to our channel and get the details, get the notifications, and also make sure you press that bell icon to get notified whenever there is a live session. Okay, so thank you so much guys. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope you share this session with all of your friends, right? And if you want to learn more, there's a session and you guys can check that. Also, if you want to get that course, right, that GLA completion certificate, so that you can add that thing to your resume, you can always refer to the courses that are available on our Great Learning Academy, okay, which I showed you at the starting of this session. Okay, and this session will be there, slide decks will be shared with you guys, the notes or learning material that is there will be shared with you guys. Okay, cool. And you can always refer back to this session as well for just to get started. Okay, thank you so much guys. I'm concluding this session, and I will see you in the next session. Okay, thanks guys.